Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salalo Makwidire, and we're going to be looking at, quite briefly, looking at a troubling local update. There was a body of an adult woman who has been found in the Spruit along John Mackenzie Drive in Emmarentia. Police have opened a case docket, and an investigation is currently underway. For more on what is known at this current point and what residents should be aware of, we're joined by Bianca Albertini, chair of the Parkview Community Police Forum. Bianca, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. I really appreciate you giving us the time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I think we'll jump right into it. What can you confirm at this stage about how the body was discovered and the immediate response by the South African Police Service and some of the private security companies that are in the area without really compromising the investigation itself?
So I can confirm that the body of the deceased was found by a resident that was making his way through the park. He notified a local security company, SCP Security, who then immediately contacted Parkview SAPS.
And when it comes to the community and some of the concerns around safety that they have, are there concerns looking at this turn of events? Is it a first time kind of occurrence that something like this happens?
I think it's the first time something of this nature happens. It's not the first incident in our public spaces. So I think the concerns are valid, but I think the biggest thing that the community need to be aware of is just being alert and vigilant at all times.
Yeah. And when it comes to addressing some of those community safety concerns, I think it's completely understandable that some of the residents might have been slightly unsettled by it. Are there any kind of immediate safety measures from the CPF and the private security companies that you're going to be coming up with to kind of ramp up security and visibility in the area?
Definitely. We're working on a lot of initiatives. We've also got our community in blue patrollers. So we're currently sitting in a couple of meetings trying to strategize, and obviously with all the necessary stakeholders. But I think the caution goes, as always, around public spaces and people taking the necessary precautions when visiting public spaces.
No, most importantly. And as the CPF, I was just reading your statement, you guys have urged the community, the public to avoid speculation and sharing, unverified information. Why is this so critical and important at this stage of an investigation? And how can the residents of the area responsibly assist the police?
I think it's critical because a lot of the time hearsay gets brought into it, and that detracts from the investigation in the sense that, are we following this or are we following that? So it tends to muddy the water, and it also creates a lot of unnecessary fear and panic. Residents are already slightly shaken. The headlines are quite graphic and get the message across. So it leaves people feeling, as you said earlier, unsettled. So trying to share verified information makes it factual and not emotional. And as I said, from an investigative perspective, it's important that people focus on investigating fact, not hearsay.
And let's talk briefly about your interaction with the South African Police Services. How have they been interacting with the local CPF? Have they been helpful? Do they look like they are working towards getting to the bottom of this?
Definitely. They've made some positive steps already in identifying suspects. So I have no doubt that they will continue with that and make the necessary arrests as soon as possible.
Lastly, before I let you go, Bianca, any tips for members of the community when it comes to, as you mentioned, being a bit more vigilant, being aware of what's happening around them, and looking at some of the contact details of who they can call regarding any suspicious activity that they're seeing in the area? Just advice to the local residents of Emmarentia at this point.
I think the most important thing, and it's a slogan that a lot of the security companies do utilize, if you see something, say something, call it in. Too often we hear people say, I saw that and I thought it was strange, but I didn't say anything. So I think really the most important thing is that people communicate. If something seems out of place or unusual, notify your security companies. We work very closely with all the security companies. There are WhatsApp community groups that things can be posted on. My number is always available for people to share information if they need to and don't want to post it on a public forum. So the most important thing is that residents communicate what they see, what's unusual, what's, making them feel uncomfortable. And the more sort of people we have looking at it and the bigger the network grows, the quicker it will be sorted out. So don't be hesitant to say something if you see something.
No, most importantly, Bianca Albertini, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much for the wonderful work that you guys are doing as the local CPF.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
There you go. And with that very, very concerning story, I think we're going to pause a minute, take a quick break. News and Views will return after this.
The problem for Afia is it's so complicated. I mean, it begins with her being the woman who was put through the torture program by the US, the only woman really. But then it gets far, far worse that the CIA abducted her 3 children, apparently killed one of them, never admitted that, the 6-month-old, but then forcibly adopted the 4-year-old girl into a white Christian American family on the obvious principle you can only go to heaven if you're a white Christian American. And then the 6-year-old boy, an American citizen, Ahmed, they put him in prison in Afghanistan. And then they took Afia off to Bagram Air Force Base, where I've now been several times, and tortured her for 5 years. So this is a shocking, shocking story. And I speak as an American when I say, I'm really sorry, both to Afia and her family and to the world, that we behaved so badly. And it's our job to clear it up, clear up the mess. But we need your help.